Hello again everybody, welcome to video 5 in this Make a Simple Game series with Unity. So of course you want to go up, start up your Unity and open up your ball game. So this is where we left off, except I added a minor addition to our game. As you can see, the platforms are wider, and because if you saw in the last video, as I was rolling up this platform right here, my ball fell off. This is because the platforms were very skinny. So basically all I did to make them wider, I just hit the shift key, and while I'm still holding down the shift key, I can select all of the platforms. So all I did was I selected all the platforms, and then I changed the Z scale to 3 just to widen it out a little bit. If you change the Y scale, it will increase the height, and if you change the X scale, it will increase the length of it. And also, if you experience that they're also rolling off, just make sure that when you click on it, the rotation in the X and Y axis are 0. Or make sure the rotation in the X axis here is 0, in the X axis here is 0, here is 0, and here it is not 0. So I'm just going to change that to 0, just so our ball does not fall off. So 0. Okay, perfect. So now I'm just going to go through it again. Now as I'm in this game, as you can see right here, we have our ball with our point light right above us giving us light. Now if you can see, as we move along into the level, it gets darker right here. That is because we have not added another light. What we're going to do, we're going to be focusing on so our whole level is bright, so we don't have to worry about it being dark or anything like that. So what we want to do, we want to go into, I believe it's edit, and then yes, edit, and then click render settings. And then as you can see, we don't have an ambient light. Our ambient light color, I'll just go to our game view, is gray. Now what I'm going to do, we can just go ahead and delete our point light because we're not going to need that anymore. So you want to go to edit, render settings, then our ambient light, we can change that to something a little bit more brighter, and as you can see, it brightens up our entire level. Now don't make it too bright because it won't look as good. Make it a nice little color here. Now if you want some reflection from the sky, we can make it nice and bright and maybe put it to the blue side just a little bit to give it that skylight blue reflection. Sorry. And then you can just close that, go ahead, save our scene, and play that, and you can see now that it is a nice solid color with a little bit of reflection from our sky. Okay, now I'm just going to fall off here. Now as you can see, if I fall off, our ball just keeps falling. It does not respawn to the start. So what we're going to be focusing on now is we're going to want to make our ball respawn to the position from where it started. So let me just move this. So to do that, we will have to go to select our ball, and then we want to click add component, and we're going to create a new script, and we're going to call this script the ball health, and make sure the language is JavaScript, then click create and add. And we're just going to drag that ball health script right into our scripts folder. So now we could go ahead and open up our ball health script with MonoDevelop, and just select your ball health up here, and we can delete the function start once again because we don't need that. And now we want to start off by creating a variable, and we'll call this variable the max fall distance, and we'll make that about -10. Okay, now we want to go below our inside our curly brackets in our function update, tab out, then we want to write an if statement, transform .position.y, and then we'll make it greater than or equal to our max fall distance, and then close that off with parentheses. Okay, now we want to click enter, so we're right below our if statement, and we want to create another more. Whoops, I don't know what happened there. We want to open up another parentheses, click enter, then tab out, and we will type debug.log, and then open up a parentheses, put in quotations, and then write test, and then close that off with the semicolon. Something doesn't look right here. Oh yes, this should actually be less than or equal to, just like this. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about this line right here, our debug.log test. So basically we're just going to hit file save. Now what this does, it lets us test our game with, just to make sure it's working. So if we open up Unity right now, if we select our ball, you can see the variable or should be created. I don't know. Oh, we have an error. Assets script ball health. An instance of type Unity engine.transform is required to access non-static member position. Let me just check. Oh, yes, that should be a lowercase t. Okay, now if we hit file, save, open up Unity, we clear the errors, there are no more errors. And as you can see, our max vol distance is -10. Okay, so now you can see if we open up our console, back to that test, if we go ahead and click play, and we can move around on our thing, and then once we fall, once we get below that distance, you can see a bunch of tests are being created here. And this is basically saying that whenever we get below that object, it's going to respawn us. And it's just basically making sure that it's working. So now we're going to open up MonoDevelop again, and we are going to add another line. Okay, so now that we got our test, we can go ahead and delete our debug log, and in the curly brackets we're going to write something else. We are going to write application dot load level, and then whatever we called our level. So I think I called it, let me just check here, I called it ball game. So we can go ahead, open up quotations, and type ball game, and then close that off with a semicolon. There we go. Then we can go ahead and save that. Okay, so now we save that, we can open up Unity, and now we can test out our game to see if it's working. And once we go ahead and we fall, once we get to that distance of -10 feet, or -10 meters, or whatever it is, we will respawn. So that is working very nicely. But what I might do, I think I named our ball game wrong. I think I should have called it level 1, because as we get into these videos, I want to talk to you guys about adding more levels and stuff like that. So, I'll just leave it as ball game right now. I'll rename it if I decide we're gonna add more levels, and if I decide I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. But first, whoops, what happened there? I accidentally dragged our scripts into the materials. Just drag it back into the assets. Alright, so now in this video we covered making sure we have light in our whole game, and we covered the respawn. So when we fall like this, it just respawns nicely. So I'll just end on that note, and I'll see you guys in the next video.